back again.
Hello, everyone. How are we doing this morning? Awesome. Thank you very much for that wonderful introduction, Michael. Now, Michael did actually choose my song for me, so what do we think of it? It is one I have done at karaoke many times, so it is very on point. So thank you very much, Michael, for that great song. So I'm here today to talk to you all about ensuring quality testing in an AI-driven world. Now, I'm using testing as the lens, but what I really want to talk about is how we as humans work well with the tools we are given, in this case, AI. Now, Michael talked about it in the opening as well. The AI can do so many great things for us, but there are also so many great things we can do as humans, and that's what I want to leave you all with today, so you have the skills to work with the tools we have available to you. So as Michael said, I'm Mish Manners. Feel free to tweet. We're still going to call it Twitter. Zeet it. I don't know. Feel free to send out socials, take photos, put them on the app, put them on social media, and tag me in it. As Michael said, I've worked across many different businesses. I started an AI company back in 2016 when it wasn't the cool thing to do. So I've been doing it for a little while. And yes, recently joined this wonderful group of humans at Twilio. Who's heard of Twilio? A few people in the room. A lot of people know us as that company that does the messaging thing. We do so much more than that now, which is exciting. We're doing a lot in the AI space as well. And I'm really excited that our leaders have given us the tools at Twilio to be able to use AI to the extent that we're able to, and that's really cool. So if you want to come and geek out about Twilio or ask me more about it or tell me what you're building with Twilio, feel free to come chat to me over the next couple of days. I've got some swag, I've got some stickers as well, so I'd love to give that all to you. So what are we going to cover today in this next 28 minutes? First of all, we'll talk really briefly just about software testing and its evolution. Then we're going to talk about this changing landscape. How have we kind of gotten to this point? We'll talk about the skills I think we all need for AI developer tooling, including testing, and we'll talk about how to practice those skills as well. We'll touch on fears, concerns, and ethics. Now, this is a massive topic, so we're only going to touch on this. We could do an entire day's workshop on this. We don't have time for that, but we'll cover off it a little bit. And then we'll talk about what I think the future, not just of testing, but also software development is as well. So, first up, who's seen the testing pyramid? A few people. It's a little bit hard to see you all here. But the testing pyramid is this idea of having lots and lots of tests down the bottom. Oh yes, woohoo, I can see the crowd now. We have lots and lots of tests down the bottom where it is relatively resource light to run these types of things. We have lots of different things to be able to test all the different functionality. As we go up the pyramid, we need less tests, but it tests a wider range of things, and so we need more resourcing to be able to test these. It's integration tests, so testing things that integrate across different APIs and things like that. And then right at the top, we have user interface tests. So we might only need like one or two, maybe a couple of these types of tests to test the entire end-to-end capabilities of a system to see if something works. As I said, as we go up the testing pyramid, we need more tests at the bottom, less at the top, more resourcing at the top ones for each individual test, but less of them. Now, we have a couple of different types, or a bunch of different types of testing as well. So as I said, we have those unit tests down the bottom, but we also have those integration tests in the middle where we're testing out different integrations of different capabilities. But we have functional tests as well, and they kind of sit in that middle of the pyramid. And these functional tests is designed to test a particular functionality of something. We have end-to-end tests designed to test the entire end-to-end system, so they can sit right at that top of that user testing. Acceptance test, do we actually get the thing that we expect to get from a test? And then we have performance tests too. So gamers in the room, where are all the gamers at? There's a few of you, a little bit shy at the moment. I'll see you all playing Mario Kart. So performance tests is where we're testing the actual load of a system. So if we're gamers, we often test the capabilities of our new PC that we've done by testing out something that's very resource intense. So we're talking about performance tests in a user situation. We're looking at how much can the system handle? How much can it handle before it breaks down? And how much can those users still receive the types of things that they expect? expect. And then we have smoke tests as well. So these are very lightweight, relatively easy to run, just tests to see if something is there or not. Smoke tests are a good one for deciding, do we go and test further capability? There's no point testing the functionality of the website if the website doesn't load in the first place, right? So they're the types of testing, very brief touch on. I've got some more if you are interested in that in the resources. So everything I talk about today, I'll share with a link at the end so you can go and read more about it. But what is the importance? Like, why do we actually test something in the first place? We test something to ensure that the system that we designed works as intended. We want something to be able to function so that when a user does something, something else actually works. We also do testing as software developers to ensure the viability and the longevity of a system. So if we write a bunch of tests for a bunch of functionality and then we come along down the track and create new functionality, those original tests will test to see that our new thing that we added didn't break all the original things that we did, right? So we use it to get confidence in the things that we build. Now, everyone know Grace Hopper? A few people? Now, she was one of the people who first kind of coined this idea of bugging or debugging, being able to get through code. So she was one of these people, they actually found a physical bug, like a moth, in one of the systems that was like crashing the server. And so they use this term debugging. And then Charles L. Barker came along in, I think, the 70s. And this is when software development became more of a big thing, but this testing is a normal thing by this stage, right? In the 70s. And around, I think it's the 70s, I can double check on my slides, but this has been around for a long time. The point of this is not the year that was around, the point of this is that essentially as long as we've been writing software, we've been testing software. Now along comes, fast forward, 50 years or so, along comes all these Microsoft people, and Googles and your Twitters and Metas and all those kinds of things. And they start jumping up on stage now and go, this is the time to be alive. This is the next big thing. AI is going to change the way we do everything. AI is going to save the world and solve all our problems. And as developers, we'll never have to code again. Is everyone seeing some of these things coming up in the, yeah? Okay, right? So these kinds of things, it's a lot of hype, a lot of excitement, right? Now, I saw a talk recently by Dylan Beatty, and he was saying like the gap between reality and hype is quite large. Like anyone who works in kind of technology and looks at this stuff goes, look, I can see it, but there's a lot of hype in there. There's a lot of this media-ness in here. Like it's not really taking jobs, right? We'll come back to that. But then who's seen this? Has anyone seen this? Ed Citron? So this was earlier this year, and he said, look, we're not in this new era of development. We're not in the golden age. We're actually in the age or the era of the business idiot. Now, in this era, people are essentially taking the thing that AI gives them and then shipping it out there. So he says, we're in the era of the business idiot. The business idiot controls everything. He is so excited about AI because, well, AI is just transformational power, right? So he's saying that unless we're using critical thinking and we're using things correctly, these are the types of people in charge. And they're the ones just going, yep, the AI says this, let's do it. Does everyone remember the Amazon web outage that they had a couple of weeks ago? It didn't affect a heap of things here. It was like much bigger in the US, but still, it was very globally felt, right? Somebody blamed that on AI. Yeah, AI just crashed all the servers. You can't just blame things on AI. And people have seen these memes, right? AI, write this whole thing so I can turn this into, like, we're essentially going around in circles, right? What we need to be doing is using it well and using it correctly. And this is what I want to talk about. So one of this is our CMO at Twilio. He said, if we're using AI to ask a question, get the answer, and then move on, that is a very dangerous world. When you're doing that, you're not critically thinking through the problem you're wanting to solve, and you're just arriving at an answer and then shipping it out. So this is what I think is really, really important. Michael said at the start, we have curiosity. We think about what our users need. AI doesn't think. right? It can't understand empathy. By definition, it can't be empathetic, because empathy is when you experience what the other person is feeling. Sympathy, a bit different. Sympathy is like, I haven't experienced your situation, but I can sympathize with you. Empathy is, I've been in your situation, I know what you're going through. AI can't do that. AI can't be in the situations we are in. So we need to understand how to use AI correctly. And Adam Morgan from Twilio, in the same panel that they did, said if we are using AI correctly, it is making us more creative and more strategic. So this is a question I want to pose to you all today, is AI making us smarter or dumber? And what I want to leave you with and make sure you all have today is how to make sure that you're using AI in the smart way and not the business idiot way, right? So I have put this little picture up, but I think, and this I've said this about like so many tools we've had, is AI is literally just a tool. It is something that we now have as developers in our toolkit to use. Regardless of whether you think AI is hype or you're on the pessimistic side of AI, AI is here. It's not going anywhere. So how are you going to use this tool that is at your disposal? Before we go further, I want to make sure we're all on the same definition of AI, which is artificial intelligence that leverages computers and machines to mimic the problem-solving and decision-making capabilities of the human mind. So a lot of people talk about AI and don't really think about what the actual definition is. It is trying to mimic what we do as humans. Or, as Dylan Beattie put it in a keynote he did only a few weeks ago at NDC Porto, and I've linked it here, is AI is what happens when we press this button. Right? So let's go with that definition today. So AI isn't just, and this is something I've said as well, but I believe that AI, and this is why a lot of people are worried about it, the AI isn't just designed to mimic the capabilities of us now. It is now designed to do it better than we can in a lot of ways. So AI is available 24/7. I need sleep. AI is good at repetitive tasks. AI is good at retrieving information. AI is good at analyzing a ton of information. So there's a lot of good things that AI is good at, but then there's things that we have that we are good at as people as well. And so we can feel a little bit down in this era, because then we see all these things coming out like it's the end of developers, it's the end of the age. Like, what do we do? Like, it's the end of software engineering. But the people who are saying these things aren't really understanding what AI is good at and what humans are good at. Because there's a lot of things that we're really good at. I don't know about you, but there's so many more things I could do with my day when AI is able to help me with a lot of those repetitive tasks, right? So, and if you think that AI has not touched your job yet, I'm going to get the stat for this. There's a website called There's an AI for that, and it literally has hundreds of AIs. So I checked it 2 days ago. It has now got 42,259 AI tools for 11,893 tasks for over 5,000 jobs. So there's lots of AIs out there to do lots of different things. So how do we use them? So I think that because of AI, we're seeing this like evolution of testing. And testing has changed over the years as well. So originally we had traditional testing, where the developer who wrote the code went and tested the code as well. Now we've got AI testing coming into play. So developers are writing the code, and who actually likes writing tests? There's a few people who hates it, really dislikes it. So you're the ones that are going, I'm loving the fact there's an AI, I can just pass all my code over to test. But what I really think is what we're going for in this evolution is AI-driven quality assurance, which means we're getting the AIs to help write our tests. We, as humans, are understanding and reviewing what the AI is writing. We're looking at and going, is that what I expect? So we're becoming, and I'll talk more about this, we're becoming code auditors and code directors as opposed to writing lines of code all the time, right? So I'm going to use this, oh, that's a bit fun. So I'm going to use this website that I built as an example. This is a website, come and talk to you about all the different dietary requirements that I have, which is a lot of fun. So I built this website with a bunch of people for Hacktoberfest a few years ago. So you put in what your language is, and we get a bunch of translation results in our native language. So I wanted to add some new capability, and here it is here. So it's an Astro site, so relatively based, no PHP here, sorry people. So I wanted to add some new functionality in here so that I don't always have to go and check the language that I want. Don't have to always go and choose a drop down. The language will detect my browser language and say that's going to be the input. So I'm writing something here that is relatively informative. So I would like the language shown in the from section to default to the language the user has set in the browser. Can you help me make this change? So a lot of people use GitHub Copilot. Few people, or other coding tools, Cursor and other things as well. Like the things I'm telling you, I'm using GitHub Copilot as an example, but you can use your other coding tools as well, right? So it goes through and goes, yep, I'm going to look at all your references. I'm going to go through and make this change for you. These are the two things I want to do. So I like GitHub Copilot as well. It says, here is what I understand is going to happen. So as the user and as the human, we should be going, okay, has the AI actually understood what I want? So it's telling me to those two things. I'm going to check what the language is, and I'm going to make sure we default to that. It's like, cool, you have understood. It's exactly the same when we work with our human teammates, right? So if I say to you, hey, we're going to build this new website, it's going to do this, and you're going to say, cool, okay, so let me understand this. We're going to do this, and this, right? We have that two-way communication, and we should have that with our AIs as well. So it's going here, I can update the code here, and it's going to look like this. So I go, cool, that looks really good. I'm going to go drop that code into my project there, and that looks good, and it's even given me a how should I test this change. So another thing I like about GitHub Copilot, it kind of gives us the next question we could potentially ask, and I like this. It's gone, oh, we're using some testing libraries here, but again, it's like saying, okay, how should we test this? And it's like, it was trying to use like Jest, and I was like, no, use Playwright. Playwright is what I've got in the rest of my tests, so please go and use Playwright. So again, we don't have to just blindly accept what the AI is telling us, right? It's saying, oh, I'm going to use Jest. It's like, no, I want to use Playwright because that's what we've already used as part of this framework. Maybe we have policies, procedures in our businesses, in our teams that we work in, so we want to make sure that we are embedding those into the AI we use as well. So we say, cool, and it goes, yep, sure, I can use Playwright, no worries, don't worry about that, we can do that. So it goes, yep, well, we need to install it, and then we can put in a test there. It's like, but we've already installed it, we've already got some tests there, so we can just go and drop that into our test file, or create a new test file as well. We're going to create a new one just for this one, and that looks pretty good. Now we can even get GitHub Copilot to help us test this as well, so actually go and test it. So it's going, cool, we can go into our terminal, I can just write in npx playwright test. We can see, oh, this is a failed test. That's probably not a good thing, is it? So we can then go and look at the code, see what's happening. We can talk to our AI as well and say, hey, why do you think this test is actually failing? So here I'm going to go, cool, let's actually go and have a look at that so I can see okay, the change that we made is working, which means it's probably the test that's broken in this case. Again, we need to be good humans. We need to be critically thinking about the things we're doing. What problem are we trying to solve? AI is going to help us. We need to give it the right directions. Now, these statistics come from when GitHub Copilot was first released. And again, they're from GitHub in this sense, so take them with a grain of salt. But the reason people are using these AIs so much is because they're seeing the productivity gains. The code quality is better. The code reviews are more actionable. 88% of developers reported staying in the workflow. Westpac, we're seeing productivity gains from using AI. Accenture, we're seeing productivity gains as well. Atlassian, said that they're seeing double the ROI, saving 105 minutes every day. And then we're also seeing, this is a study that Harvard did, again, when the first iteration of ChatGPT came out, they're completing their tasks faster with better quality results. So the average of the thing that they were producing was going from a C- to a B+. So not only are they doing it faster, they're doing it with more quality. But again, take these with a grain of salt. These are people these are university trained professionals. Clearly, they are thinking about the way that they are asking the AI. How are they invoking the AI? What problem are they trying to solve with the AI? So this is, apparently the CEO of NVIDIA said this as well, but I've been saying this for quite a while, and we can change AI with any kind of tool, right? So AI in this case, I don't think is necessarily going to take our job. There are going to be some jobs that will maybe vanish, but I really believe that it's people using AI will take other people's jobs using AI because the productivity gains are there. So one of my friends runs a startup, fired one of their developers because he wasn't using AI well. And I said, well, did you give them some training and stuff? He's like, yeah, I tried to give them training, but they just refused to use AI, and their productivity was plummeting. So they were getting done what the other developers would do. He would take him 5 days, the other developers would do it in 1. As a startup founder, he couldn't afford that productivity drop, right? So we are going to lose out our jobs to other people who are using the tools better than we are. So how do we be those good people using those good tools collaborative? Really, right? Some of the things I showed you, let's talk about them now. So prompt engineering, who's heard of a prompt engineering? Yeah, basically thinking about critically the prompt that we're putting in. So context is key. Give good context to the AI we're using. Be clear and specific. Don't use lots of jargon and stuff. Just be clear and specific. Because if we're not clear and specific, we spend way more time debugging the code that the AI gave us, rewriting the thing that ChatGPT gave us, right? So be clear and specific from the start. Talk like you're having a conversation with your AI. Most of the AIs we use now have that history of the conversation we're talking with. So ask it a question, follow up with another question. And that also means using things like please and thank you. Because the robots aren't going to come along and go, he used AI, he said please, don't touch him. He said, please and thank you. No, AIs have been trained on human language and human interactions, and they have understood that when we ask someone, hey, can you please help me with this, I'm probably going to get a more helpful answer because I was polite. So the AIs understand that. So use please and thank you. Next, give examples and direction. So something like, I'm writing some tests. Can you give me 2 or 3 tests? Give examples of how you want your AI to behave. So, because if we don't, again, we spend more time debugging the code. Whereas if we say, this is how I want this thing to be, I only need 2 or 3 tests for this thing, not 100, then we can get what we need. We can make sure that's correct before we move on. Next one, use correct spelling, grammar, punctuation. Because some words, while they might be grammatically correct, we're using the wrong word. So make sure we're checking things like defiantly and definitely, because we'll get different responses. There's a study that shows depending on where you put semicolons and commas and things, you'll get different responses from your AI. Because again, if we're not using the correct spelling and grammar and punctuation, we end up with all the milk and no avocados. Because it's the way that these are reasoning might not be the same way in which we're thinking about it. So stop. Think about what you're saying to your AI. And then check your results. Never copy and paste. Always check it. So if we go back here and we have a look at our code, another thing we can use really well is different models. So who knows what the best AI model to use is? Yeah, exactly. I think you said the right answer. I couldn't quite hear it, but I think you said it depends, right? No? Because that is totally what you said, right? It depends. Different AI models are built for different things. Use the model that does the thing for you best. So in this case, I didn't quite get what I wanted from the AI. So if I change the model, we can change the models here in our chat window, because again, models is context. The models have been built and trained on different things. So what works really well for one thing doesn't work well for another. So ChatGPT or GPT-4 Mini, I think, has that image context, so we can add images in. So think about what you're trying to do and use that model. That's a quick snapshot of the models that are available on GitHub Copilot. You can go see them all, and there's a link there as well. So we can change the models that we're using and then say, look, hey, now I'm receiving this error. And it can go, yep, now I know what you're talking about, and we can go and test it again, and it's all going to work. And awesome. Great. We can move on. Okay, who's used agent mode in GitHub Copilot or other, right? So agent mode is quite powerful. We can do quite a lot of things with agent mode. So we can go and change our models there as well, but we can also go and change our modes. Now with agent modes, we've got ask, edit, and agent. Ask is like ask a question, get some stuff. Edit is go and edit the code for me. Agent mode is you now have access to not just edit the code, but run commands and things as well. So it can be quite powerful for doing a few different things. So I can say, I want it to now provide this, this, and this. So agent mode is really good for doing lots of things, and we can, again, think about the problem that we're doing. Do we need something lightweight in this instance, or do we need something more? So in the same way that we thought about what type of models we want to use, we want to think about what type of modes of interacting with our AI can be. Sometimes we just need ChatGPT to do something, right? Sometimes we need a more in-depth model. Sometimes we need to do more. Sometimes we need to go to our MCP servers and use them as well and invoke them. So think about how we're using AI. All right, so again, we can go and get it to run tests and things for us, which is really, really cool. So I'm going to skip over that a little bit. Tests broke there, but then it went through and actually figured it all out for itself, which is why I have basically my hands off the keyboard. So if you haven't used agent mode, go try it out. It's a lot of fun. But this begs a lot of questions. In that instance, not only was GitHub Copilot writing my code, it was testing my code, deploying my code, building my code. In like many cases now, we can monitor our code. So if we're letting the AI do all this, where do we sit as humans, right? And now this is from New Relic. So they released this earlier in the year, that GitHub Copilot can deploy your code, it can now look at issues, it can monitor your code, it can do all these things for you. And I said, well, as a human, you're still responsible. Your name is still on the commit message at the end of the day. No, it's not. The AI is now on the commit message. But again, an AI can't be held responsible. As the people using AI and invoking AI, we are the ones responsible. We need to be thinking about the problems we're solving, how we're using AI, and how we're invoking it. Because at the end of the day, we are the ones who need to be responsible. You can't just say, I'm sorry, the AI did it. That's why all the Amazon servers crashed. Like, we can't just leave that over. And that's being bad developers in that case. If we're doing that, bad developers or bad managers or whoever is making that decision, that is a decision we made as people. It's called GitHub Copilot, not pilot, right? Think about how we use it together. So what I think is going to happen then, and what I think is where we should be heading, is this nice balance between what we do as humans, our empathy, our ethics, and we'll come to this in like 3 minutes that we've got left, being the directors and auditors of code, and then balancing that with the things that AI do really well. So things like repetitive work, data-heavy tasks, diverse training sets, and also thinking about interpretation that AI can now do as well. So this is what I think is where we need to land and where our future needs to be as well. There's a beautiful balance. So what are those skills that we need as people? So good decision-making, ethics, we'll touch on this. Persuasion and negotiation, to be able to say, hey, we need to use AI, or hey, we don't need AI in this instance. Our adaptability. AI is changing every single day, basically. How do we adapt to that? If we have good adaptability, we can. Our empathy and emotional intelligence. Again, what problem are we solving? What does it mean for our users? Collaboration, both with people and with AI, because AI is now a teammate that we need to think about. Our ability to learn as people. Now this one, you've all got this down pat. You're all here today learning, so this one's all good. And also our creativity and innovation, because by definition, AI can't be truly innovative. It has been trained on everything in the past. Innovation is coming out with something completely new. So AI can't truly do that. That's reserved for us as people. So Satya Nadella said this from Microsoft, which is AI is about really amplifying us, not diminishing us. So if we are using, now here's from Microsoft, but if we are using it well, it should amplify us, not diminish us. All right, so one thing that we can do, I've only got a couple of minutes left, so I'm going to skip over this really quickly, but custom prompting. Has anyone used custom prompting yet? So GitHub Copilot, there's two types of custom prompting, which is custom instructions and prompt files. I'm going to show you really briefly prompt files. So this is a way to ensure that we're not constantly telling the AI over and over again, hey, make sure you do this, make sure you do that. I want to use Playwright for this, right? We can use prompt files. So this is one that you can get. There's some basic code or some starter code you can get off GitHub there for the Markdown, which I'll put a link in as well. I love this one. We're going to use Pokemon-themed analogies. to aid our understanding. So if I go back into my project and say, yep, we're going to ask about this code, please explain the project, it'll now start using Pokemon analogies there as well. So you're a Pokemon trainer traveling to different regions. So we can get, now this is just a fun way to show how we can do this, but we can really give our AIs now instructions on how to perform, how to use our code. In the same way that when we hire a new developer in our team, we go, hey, here's all our policies, here's how we do things. We do syntax like this. We make sure we comment our code here. We write functions like this. We can now do all that with our AIs so that they become really, really good collaborators with us. And we can do the same with testing as well. So here I created one was like always use Playwright for testing so it didn't just go and do other things for me. So I'll skip over that a little bit. But if you want to see more of this in action, I am more than happy to show you this. But it's really fun. And I've got an article linked as well on how to create these custom files if you want to dive a little bit more into that, which is a lot of fun. All right, so again, I think we're going to land on this nice balance of humans and robots working really nicely together because that's where I believe the future is going to be. Now, really briefly, because I don't have a ton of time left, I really want to touch on this, and that's that there are a lot of concerns that people have about the job loss and displacement that is going to happen because of AI, but more importantly, they're worried about the speed at which it's happening, which means they're not going to have time to upskill and they're not going to have new jobs available. So we need to be embedding the types of things that we're doing with AI into our current work so that we're not being left behind. Lack of new opportunities, again, we're in like a really good space for technology. We're going to have the opportunities first. That loss of human connection, so really remember that when we're talking and using AIs, think about the end user. Don't make things that sound robotic and unempathetic. We want to make things that sound really human still. And think about that ethics and fairness. Now, we're not going to have time to go through all of that, as I mentioned, but ethics and fairness, and I've got an article that I've linked there as well, just some of the things we need to think about when we're using code. Thinking about, again, the model that we're using. How has that model been trained? Is there bias in the system? Is there bias in the training data? We need to think about these things because if we don't, we'll end up being able to, we'll end up creating products for people that just have an echo chamber, right? So we really need to think about those things. So again, I think the future is really going to be humans and robots working well together. So to leave you all today, here's some of the things that you're going to go and do to ensure that you're the people that still have the jobs, right? First one. Any fears or concerns that you or your colleagues or your friends or family have, they're valid. If you're worried about things, AI taking over, maybe not the AI Terminator side of it, I think it's a bit pessimistic, but your fears are still valid, right? Go and utilize the tools at your disposal. Whether it's GitHub Copilot or Cursor or Windsurfer or Amazon Q Developer, whatever it happens to be, ChatGPT, go and use them at your disposal. Practice using them in the ways that use critical thinking. So before hitting enter on the next prompt you do, think about it. How did you craft that prompt? What types of things could the AI interpret from that prompt? Always be learning. As I said, you've got this one down pat. You're all here today. It's going to be great. And the future, whether it's testing or software, is going to be balanced. So as promised, these are those resources. So everything I've talked about today, articles, links, tutorials, that's all in there. And I'm going to be around for the next 2 days, so we don't have time for questions now, but I'm around for the next 2 days. If you want to come talk to me about this, about Twilio, geeking out about anything, I've got lots of swag, come and chat to me, or if you're watching this recording, please feel free to DM me on a social media platform, and I will get to you. So thank you all for having me. This has been my first Laracon. It's been really exciting, and I hope you all have a great time.